This is Monster Hunter Wilds developers talk weapon changes, and they talk about the concept of weapons, creating weapons, and also feedback from the beta. So, as always, because they are speaking Japanese, and of course, there's a lot of people that are lurking, watching video stream, whatever, we are going to be reading it to you. I thought we didn't have audio for a second. I was like, uh-oh, what's going on? We're being careful to maintain the good elements of past titles, while adding the positives we want to each weapon type, as well as change... Oh my great dear God. Yep, that's lightning, all right. That is lightning. That's the REY DAU hunting horn. That's the REY DAU hunting horn. I mean, so we'll let me pause it on a frame where you can see I mean, look at this. First of all, lightning effect looks freaking dope. But look at the handle. You can see that it looks like REY DAU, right? It looks like REY DAU's the handle. You can see that it's you can see that it looks like REY DAU. Like that is REY DAU. That's the handle is REY DAU. Wow. That looks crazy. Okay, let's start again. Hunting horn mains, what the motherfudging fudge? What the motherf... Okay. Okay. Good elements of past titles, while adding the positive we want to each weapon type, as well as changes we want to make or that would be better fit this game's concept. That's the approach we've taken to designing and tuning each weapon type. As for long-distance weapons like light bowguns, heavy bowguns, and bows, now that you're able to play continuously, that makes it harder to load into a different area and replenish your supplies like before. So we wanted to design basic damage sources to do damage without having to expend resources. So for things like normal, pierce, and spread ammo, along with your coatings, you'll only have to manage your gauge as you play. There's no limit so long as you have enough gauge. At the same time, we wanted players to still be able to prepare ahead of time or replenish supplies while on the field. We've kept things like being able to get elemental ammo from what you find, while changing some mechanics for the sake of balance for these weapons. In terms of feel, I think the hunting horn changed a lot. Like its echo bubbles. We've created a lot of new actions. We wanted to be able to properly depict bowguns and the way they need to be charged up to fire various shots. We put a good amount of work into creating parts that get put onto them as a way of expressing that. There's a lot of information in the gameplay. Those gimmicks are what make the action more convincing. We put quite a lot of effort into making clear what exactly a player is doing at any given moment. This goes for all weapons. But there are some actions that can be performed while riding a secret. Actions that don't involve your weapon or actions you can perform while dismounting from a secret. Connecting actions in new ways and directions is something we've been working on since World. With help from technology, we're switching to creating things like being able to move in a certain direction while stowing a weapon. One thing I think we're doing for the first time in this game is designing starting weapons for all 14 weapon types. Really? It's always been that you start with these truly primitive and simple weapons. But in this game, you play a chosen hunter. Oh, I see what they mean. I see what they mean. It didn't feel right for them to have such simple weapons. So we thought that a way of showing that you're someone who's been chosen would be the creation of properly designed weapons like these, the hope weapons. In that sense, we've designed starting weapons for the first time. It seemed like something we should do given the game's story too. The starting hope series of weapons and armor is really cool. Kakui. To the point where you could even imagine using it until the end. When we first made the Greatsword's focus strike, we had never made an attack where looking cool mattered more than performance. Having a chance to depict something like that thanks to this action. Is that Rathian? It is Rathian? Oh, she sure is. Look at that. Let's slow us down. I want to see it. I want to see it moving around. Wow. There's a lot of stuff in this video. There's a lot. There's a lot. That's the Rathian Greatsword for sure. Let's go back and take a look at when they whip it out. What was he using before? Oh, wait, no, it's just slashing at things. Never mind. It's definitely the Rathian Greatsword. It has bandages in older games. It changes with upgrades. Very interesting. What kind of upgrade creates bandages? That is exactly the same. That's the same. There's also this, which is Monster Hunter 4. Monster Hunter 4. Very nice. Dude, we gotta look at the REY DAU hunting horn. The Rathian Greatsword. We got another look at the Uthduna heavy bowgun. It's actually, it was kind of nice seeing it in different lighting. Like this lighting. You could actually see it a little bit better in terms of the colors. Was great for coming up with new ideas. It felt like if we could make that feel good, we could do more with other weapons too. We generally start with the Greatsword, as it's a weapon that can kind of do everything. So then, when we were able to give it that kind of a focus strike, this game's big selling point, it made us feel like we can do something even more interesting with other weapons. There aren't many other action games that have weapons with such heavy, slow tempo. That's why we use the Greatsword as the standard for Monster Hunter, making sure it's fun to use. That makes sense. That makes sense. Like you wouldn't want to start with like dual blades and then you're creating monsters as you're creating, because you're obviously creating weapons and how they work alongside creating monsters and stuff. And so you're creating monsters to go along with dual blades, and you pull out the Greatsword and you're like, oh. Not very fun to hunt this guy with a Greatsword. Pretty freaking annoying. Part of the concept for the other weapon types is finding ways to differentiate them from the core weapon that is the Greatsword. Oh, lordy. If we make a game that's fun to play with a weapon as heavy as the Greatsword, that makes it easier to create weapons with a quicker tempo. But if we focus on fast weapons, that makes it hard to create slower ones. The game will keep speeding up if we match monsters to their tempo. I think that we end up with a game like... Wait, I just read that totally wrong. I think that we end up with a game with a Monster Hunter-like feel and tempo to its action by making sure that both sides are properly tuned with a weapon. That has the Greatsword speed, then figuring out the strengths of quicker weapons. A lot of important elements to Monster Hunter can be found in the Greatsword. I think the design makes people feel that we care a lot about creating that feeling of weight. Yeah, I do notice that. When you keep hit stopping and you don't take it out because of people. I don't know what people, but people. This game's decoration system is similar to Worlds. Hold on! Okay, sorry. Let's see what they say first before... Decorations have specific skill abilities that are activated by placing them into weapon or armor slots. Yes, correct. But if it's a decoration with just one skill on it, you can create them through something like alchemy. You won't find yourself completely unable to get a specific skill in this game. That means... Oh, I almost passed out. That means that Mighty Bow won't take me 75 million years to get if Mighty Bow is in the game. Assuming that Mighty Bow is in the game. I'm assuming that Mighty Bow is in the game. If you are not a bow main or you have no idea about the bow, Mighty Bow is a skill that enables you to get one extra charge on your bow. So when you're pulling it back, it charges, charge, charge, charge. So not having access to like a whole charge of your bow is a huge, huge loss in damage. Huge, massive. So being able to get that skill is like the most important for bow. Like you need it. You have to have it in your build no matter what. You do not have a choice. So it's always been really tricky in World. You had to just get the decoration. Good luck. They eventually gave it to you like at the end of Iceborne or something. But you had to get really lucky to get it. In Rise, you had to do a bunch of arena quests to get really low-level earrings. And then you could only wear those earrings for the rest of your life. You had no... Yeah, you got stuck with these like low-level earrings that you couldn't really level up very high because of that. Okay, we'll go back. We'll read this. If it's a decoration with just one skill on it, you can create them through something like alchemy. You won't find yourself completely unable to get a specific skill in this game. But for maximum slot efficiency, you want to get decorations with multiple skills. Aha! I mean, I think that's a really great middle ground. I think that's great. That way, using Mighty Bow as the example still, you can get access to Mighty Bow right away, but eventually you're going to want something that has Mighty Bow and something else. And you're going to have to get that through RNG. But you're not going to be entirely locked out of this very important skill for your build. Which is great. I think that's great. That sounds great to me. Yeah, it's not pure RNG for the things that you like super duper 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 really need. You can get those and you will have them. You will have the access to that skill. And yeah, for the multi-skills, you just RNG. It will make the grind for getting that perfect thing a little bit better because you still get to use the skill on the way to using that perfect decoration, you know? True, we don't know how long it's gonna be until we can get access to alchemy. I would hope that this implies that you're getting it kind of early. Early-ish. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. Maximum slot efficiency, you want to get decorations with multiple skills. Huge! So it won't be like World where you just can't get an Iron Wall jewel. Like this guy did. I got plenty, but I don't use Lance. I never ended up getting one. So we've added a system to respond to voices like his. Huge! The range of monsters you target narrows as you enter the endgame. Yeah, no, that's huge. That is huge. That's huge. Huge. That way you can still keep all the RNG grinding, all the RNG farming, trying to get your perfect stuff as much as you want in the game, but you're not like totally locking people out of potentially never getting a thing. That's a healthy balance right there. That is a healthy balance of updating the game to where you're not just at the complete mercy of RNG, but if you want to have your min-max build, you want to be most efficient, then you do need to RNG it up. Love it. Love it. Perfect. Happy. The range of monsters you target narrows as you enter the endgame. I think there is a case where usage of a certain weapon is likely to increase if it's better at dealing with those monsters. I think weapon types will tend to be used less if they're great against one monster but have trouble with another. But making it so that it's still easy to beat a monster with whatever weapon you're fixated on, without giving it some effort, will lessen the individuality of both that weapon and that monster. I don't want that to happen. We have made it so that it's possible to beat them with enough trial and error. So while there may be a trend towards weapons that offer it all, in terms of time efficiency, ease of use, and completion difficulty, I think that's just Monster Hunter. You are able to bring 2 weapon types, so even if you have somewhat specialized ones, it'd make me happy if players use 2 to complement each other. What's that about? You're giving me hints. I see what's going on there. I saw that. We're gonna see the switch axe monster in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy.